Hi, I'm Rick Santos, Vice Principal from McLean High School, along with Shannon West from Duck and Poly, and we're going to take a look at the online referral form that we developed and is now in use at McLean High School. We're going to take a look at how it looks as a live form when accessed by teachers, and also a look at the admin-accessible organizational charts and graphs of data that the online form allows us to collect and analyze.
As Rick mentioned, the first thing we will do is take a look at the online referral as it is accessible to teachers. Once on the live form, teachers will select their name from the drop-down menu and select the period in which the student infraction occurred. Next, teachers will then type in the student's first and last name along with student ID number and select the appropriate grade level. From here, teachers will select the type of incident or misbehavior that warranted a student referral. In this section, teachers are able to select more than one misbehavior, if necessary. In this case, this was a verbal incident. After the misbehavior type is selected, the teacher will then scroll down to the corresponding section in order to clarify the specific infraction that occurred. In these sections, it is important to be specific and list all facts that are relevant to the misbehavior. This includes direct quotes from the students, although it may be uncomfortable at times. Since this was a verbal infraction, I go to my scroll down menu and I look to see which is most appropriate for my situation. In this case, it was direct verbal insubordination. For verbal incidents, record direct quotes made by the student. Let's see, student told teacher to shut up and stated that he would not follow directions because I was, quote, not his mama. It is important to know that teachers are only responsible for filling out sections that they have selected under type of misbehavior. There is no need to complete all sections if they are not relevant to the situation at hand. Scrolling down, there is also a section labeled Other Infractions, and this is for any student behaviors or actions that are not listed within the referral choices. Last, the final step in the online referral process is for the teacher to select the previous interventions that have already been taken in order to attempt to redirect student behavior prior to issuing a referral. In this case, I've given the student a verbal warning, I've had a one-on-one conversation with him, I've attempted to change his seat, and I've made parent contact, which I've already previously logged in Atlas. When finished, click Submit, and the online referral will be shared with all members of the admin team and other appropriate intake personnel when necessary. So, why an online referral?
I've seen a lot of administrators struggle with paper referrals. I know that I've struggled with paper referrals. They're usually designed for a really purely punitive system of discipline, which doesn't really reflect any of our current district trainings.
Don't paper referrals allow teachers to write what they need to?
The problem is that sometimes paper referrals allow a little bit too much license, meaning that teachers write some really creative things sometimes in the heat of the moment, and that doesn't really help us sometimes when we are actually talking to parents and trying to give them specific details about what took place that have their students removed from class. Sometimes also teachers will use catch-all phrases like disruption or defiance, and that doesn't really provide very much clarity for what really is taking place in the class. It's convenient for teachers, but doesn't really give us what we need.
Well, does it take a long time to fill out?
Actually, it takes about 2 minutes to complete.
Do teachers still need to log all entries in Atlas?
Yes, they do. It doesn't replace Atlas, it just serves as a document for immediate action for processing students that are removed from the class.
Do CAs and other support staff find the online referral helpful?
Yes, they all say they do. With the paper system and without an OCS, a CA sometimes will retrieve a student from class and try to bring them to an administrator. Now, if the VP or the intake personnel person is unavailable, the student usually just takes off when the bell rings, and the paper referral usually never finds its way to an administrator. Now, with the online referral, as soon as the teacher hits the submit button, the online referral is automatically sent to every vice principal or whoever is doing intake for personnel.
Is there anything else teachers and administrators should know about the online referral?
One of the major faults we have with the paper system was it really didn't do anything to help improve or correct behavior or citizenship. There was no real way to track office referrals or to track student behaviors that weren't resulting in a suspension. So without running complicated searches, we couldn't really find that data. Now with the online referral, we have some great ways we can gather and organize data that really gives us a real opportunity to provide some real support for our students and for our teachers.
Next, we are going to take a look at our online referral and how it gathers and organizes data. This feature is really helpful because it not only gives you raw numbers and percentages, but also develops graphs and charts, which is ideal for taking screenshots of each section or creating a focus section that can be used for staff meetings, professional learning, and can help guide our planning and really bring into focus what we can do to provide additional assistance and support for our students and teachers.
First section is teacher referrals. It shows the actual number of teacher referrals plus an individual percentage of their referrals versus the entire school staff. So our next section shows us the highest and lowest referrals per period. It also gives a percentage of those as well as a pie chart. Our next section is actually a write-in section for teachers. They'll be writing in student name and student ID. It gives us information on how many times each student has been referred for whatever reason. It actually goes into a nice spreadsheet. It is well organized for our viewing. Another way we break down data is by looking at which grade has the highest number of referrals coming from it. Surprisingly for us, it's 9th grade. Okay, next we can look at which type of infraction that students were referred for. We give them 4 choices here on this. It would be verbal, physical, electronic, or other. Teachers can pick which infraction or infractions students committed. We're able to see the percentage of referrals coming for each infraction. For each infraction, we get more specific for that data. So for example, for verbal infractions, we have different choices of the types of verbal infractions, and we can see teachers can choose from that, and then we can see a percentage of which ones are the highest referrals for those types specifically of verbal infractions. So in the same way as we looked at our verbal infractions, we're going to look at the same way with our physical and our electronic infractions. The 4th choice for infraction is other. In this section, we have an open box for teachers to actually write comments in and describe some things that they didn't have a choice of in the rest of the online referral. So the final section we have on here is a place where teachers are to list all the prior interventions they did with the student before referring him out of class. So there are choices such as parent contact, seat rearrangement, individual conferences, anything that teachers have done before with the student, they should list here. Of course, everything they do list here should have been previously listed in the Atlas as well. The online referral is electronically timestamped. This means we can keep track of each day of the week and how many referrals are made on each day.